Good morning, friends. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Miss Cassidy Creates. I'm Miss Cassidy. Let's go ahead and get our video up and running here so that I can see all of your wonderful comments and questions and all that good stuff. All right. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you got to do something fun or learn something new, do something nice for someone. I hope you got to do something that made your heart happy this weekend. All right, almost there, almost there. There it is. All right, friends, we are all set. Good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday. We've got another exciting week going here. We are going to do a puzzle activity this morning. Tomorrow we're going to make our very own fruity ice cream, which if you're going to join us for that, make sure you throw whatever fruit you're using in the freezer tonight or at least like an hour before our 3 o'clock class tomorrow. Best to do it overnight. I'm going to put a bunch of reminders out. So if you're going to help out with our kitchen adventure tomorrow, freeze that fruit, whatever fruit you're going to use. And then on Thursday, we're going to have a good old-fashioned dance class with Miss Cass. It's going to be great. Oh, hello, you were on vacation. That must have been nice. Welcome back. I hope you had a good vacation. I'm so glad that you're back with us, though. That's awesome. All right, friends. So today we are talking about puzzles. We are going to learn a little bit about the history of puzzles, and then we're going to make our own puzzle. So we have 2 different puzzles we're going to make today. So if you only have the supplies for one, that's okay. You'll get to learn about another way we're going to make puzzles, and maybe you can do it in the future. So the 2 different groups we need. You're going to need markers. No matter what you're doing, you're going to need some good coloring tools, markers preferred. Then we're going to do a popsicle stick puzzle. So you want a handful of popsicle sticks and some tape if you're going to do the popsicle stick puzzle. All you need are markers, tape, and popsicle sticks. If you're going to do the cereal box puzzle with us, I have 2 cereal boxes here because I'm going to show you 2 different ways. But all you need is a cereal box and scissors at the very least. But if you want to make it your very own special puzzle, add markers and paper. So if you're going to do the cereal box one, again, the things that you need are, of course, the cereal box, some scissors, and then some markers and some paper. Sound good? All right, let's get started. So puzzling and doing puzzles has been around almost since the dawn of time. All the way back in ancient Greece, Archimedes, who was a very famous mathematician, somebody that studies numbers and math, would create his own puzzles around 250 BCE, where he would use them to solve geometry puzzles. He'd cut a bunch of different shapes, 14 pieces, and then see how many different ways he could turn those 14 pieces to make a different shape, which is pretty cool. That took a lot of brain power, huh? That's like when we had a wonderful pyramid building activity last week, and we talked all about the difference between a square and a cube. It's the same kind of idea. How many pieces can you fit in? So puzzles were happening in ancient Greece all the way back then. But in the 1760s, map makers in Europe started to paste maps. They would glue maps on top of pieces of wood, and then they would cut it out so that you could practice putting it together. It was a really great way to learn maps, because obviously back in 1760, nobody had their GPS in their car or on their cell phone. Nobody had any of that stuff. You had to just learn about maps and know in your brain where something was. So puzzles were a really great way to put those together and kind of test your knowledge and learn more about the geography of the land around you. John Spilsbury, like Pillsbury, but if you spilled it. John Spilsbury is considered the first person to make a jigsaw puzzle in 1767. And like I said, puzzles started out largely as educational, but then us grown-ups started seeing them, and we're like, ooh, these are kind of fun and interesting. And by the early 1900s, it was a whole phenomenon. It was a whole trend, a craze. Everybody was so excited about puzzles. People would do it to help pass the time, because again, you got to think, they didn't have their Facebook or their phone or their computer or their television. They had to find other ways to entertain themselves. The puzzles of those days were super difficult too. They didn't interlock. You know how when you put a puzzle together, the pieces fit together, like there might be a little space there and it locks in right like that? They didn't used to be like that. They would just lay next to each other. And they would make them super difficult because they wouldn't put a picture on the box. You just had to put it together and see if you could figure out what it was. And think about it, if those pieces won't interlock, if you sneeze or if your cat jumps down and knocks it all apart, you were just out of luck, which would be a bummer after putting in all of that time. Hi, Marissa. Hello, friends. Thanks for joining us. So, they used to cut, and because they were made of wood, they had to be cut out individually, and that took a lot of time. So that meant that puzzles were very expensive, and only people that had a lot of money could really afford to do them. However, the Parker brothers started a game company where they started to develop puzzles in their factories, meaning they could become more accessible. They were cheaper, so people of all different walks of life could afford to get a puzzle. And it was a big deal. Everybody started doing puzzles. In the Great Depression, when a lot of people were out of work and were struggling to make ends meet, the puzzles were a really good way to take up some time and kind of escape from maybe the scarier, sadder parts of their world. So in the Great Depression, puzzles were huge, which if you think about the beginning of quarantine, I think a lot of people were doing puzzles, which makes sense. A lot of people stuck at home, not having to go to work. Puzzles seem to be the answer for that. But once we learned how to print out cardboard, everything changed. You know the puzzles that you have now? Chances are you might have a nice wooden puzzle somewhere. But I bet a lot of the puzzles you've seen have been made out of cardboard. The same kind of stuff that our package boxes are made of and that even these cereal boxes are made of. But as they got better and better at producing those and cutting them and making them beautiful, more and more people could afford them and they could make more and more of the puzzles. Oh, I'm so great you're enjoying it. I like talking about fun things. I like learning new things, so I always get excited to share that information with you guys. Thank you so much. So in 1932, they started to be able to cut and die cardboard to make their own puzzles. And once that happened, everybody had puzzles. You could buy a toothbrush, and they'd give you a puzzle along with it. You could buy a hairbrush, and they'd give you a puzzle along with it because it was looked at as advertising. What better way to make you remember the name of your vacuum cleaner than by having you put together a whole puzzle about your vacuum cleaner? They even started doing weekly jigsaw puzzles that would be sold at the newsstand. So when your parents would just go to pick up their newspaper, they could also pick up a brand new jigsaw puzzle every week. So it's so cool the puzzles have lasted all of this time and they have developed all on their own. So we are going to make some of our own puzzles today. I'm so excited. So the first one we're going to do is our popsicle stick puzzle. So if you're making a popsicle stick puzzle, pay attention. Here we go. And if not, you get to just see another cool way to make a puzzle whenever you have popsicle sticks next. So depending on the size of your popsicle sticks, it's going to change the size of your puzzle, obviously. So first, we're just going to lay out flat on our table or whatever your work surface is, the base of our puzzle. And I'm kind of avoiding, some of my popsicle sticks are real bent out of shape. I don't know if you can tell there. So I'm trying to pick the ones that lay the flattest. And I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I've got 15 little popsicle sticks going on here. But however many you have will work just fine. Then I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to lay it down so that it holds all of those sticks together because we need to get them all to stay together while we make our puzzle, and then we'll pull them apart. So I just laid that big piece of tape all the way down my popsicle stick so that it would be held all together. Then we're going to flip it over so that the wooden side is up and our tape is on the ground. And this is where you get to design your own puzzle. You can draw anything you want. You can make it a cartoon character you like. You can make it a family portrait. You can make it something crazy. It could just be a cool design. It's whatever you would like. But we're going to draw the whole thing over this. So let's see. Does anybody have a recommendation? What do you think I should draw on my puzzle? What do you think I should draw? I'll take some suggestions if anyone's got some. I could draw myself and baby boy, my little kitty who's just staring at me over in the corner. I could draw a mountain. I could draw the beach, because I'm probably not going to go to the beach this year. No. Baby boy? Of course baby boy wins. All right, we'll draw a nice little puzzle of baby boy. So, for those of you who maybe don't know, come here buddy, come say hi real fast. the subject of our puzzle. Say hi, baby boy. Hi, baby boy. Ooh, a unicorn. We'll do the unicorn on the next one, okay? I saw that, Marissa. Don't worry. Right? That was Marissa. Yeah, we'll do unicorn next, okay? All right, so I'm going to grab my marker, and I'm going to draw myself and baby boy. Because that sounds like a pretty cute puzzle to me. So just on my popsicle sticks, I'm starting to draw my kitty cat. And we've talked about before, friends, Miss Cassidy is not the best at drawing, and that's okay. It's okay if you're not the best at something. If you like doing it, that's all that matters. So, don't laugh at me when you see how I'm drawing my little kitty cat here. So there's my kitty. And then we've got to draw Miss Cassidy. And you know what? Maybe I'll even give myself my yellow background once I draw it. So like I said, you can draw anything you want, and you're just drawing right over our sticks. Super simple. Gonna make myself wearing a blue shirt. And this is also a great activity you can do with your family. If you have enough popsicle sticks, you can all take turns drawing your own puzzle, and then when you switch them all around, that makes it even more challenging to put together because it's not the puzzle you made, it's somebody else's. So that's a great little family activity you could do all together. Give myself my nice red hair bun on top of my head. I have my hair down today, but you've probably seen in all of my students, it's funny, anytime any of my students in person draw a picture of me, oftentimes it's with a big old red bun on top of my head, like I got right there. I've got to draw my lower half now. So let's see, I'll give myself green pants. Why not? You could even tell a story with your puzzles. If you wanted to get crazy about it and really creative, you could tell a whole story. So maybe I'm telling a story about Miss Cassidy and baby boy going on an adventure. And this is my first one. This is the first part of my adventure. And so we'll have baby boy and Miss Cassidy hanging out upstairs in their studio, hanging out with their friends on Miss Cassidy Creates. And then maybe a ghost comes and we have to help solve the mystery of the ghost. I don't know. And then the next part of my puzzle, it's us meeting the ghost. You can get so creative. You can tell stories. You can challenge each other. You can time each other if you're competitive and you want to race and see who can get theirs done the fastest. And then I'll give myself a little window up here. And I like to, whenever I'm doing these puzzles, I like to give them at least a fair amount of detail. Because if I end up with a bunch of plain, uncolored popsicle sticks, that's going to be a hard part of the puzzle to put together, huh? So I made sure that each popsicle stick somewhere has a little mark. Even if it's just this top one that has barely any lines, you want to make sure they each have a mark. So there we go. We've got my not so great drawing, but that's okay because I had fun doing it, of Miss Cassidy and baby boy. Once you're all done with your drawing, you're going to lay it back down, drawing side down, so your tape's up top, and slowly and carefully pull that tape off. Or you can just pull off the popsicle sticks one by one, whichever one is easier for you. Here we go. A unicorn, and I saw someone said a flower. We'll put a flower on our next one too. And just like that, I'm going to mix up all my pieces. And you have your very own puzzle to put together from scratch, just looking at all of your popsicle sticks. Which here, let me grab the phone so you can look down and see what it looks like when it's all put together like that. Oh, there's baby boy. There we go. And just like that, you have made yourself your very own popsicle stick puzzle. Excuse me, baby boy, that's my seat. Excuse me. He loves that seat. So there you go, friends. That's the first one, which let's see. We got a little time. Let's see how hard it is to put together. Probably not too hard. As you get better and better at this, you can make them more and more difficult too. Because just like we talked about, oh, that was the other cool thing. Did you know what is considered the hardest puzzle to make is called the double retrospect? And it's the largest jigsaw puzzle. It has 32,000 32,000 pieces spanning 17 feet. 17 feet long. That's so much. Oh, I put a piece upside down. And the creator would estimate that it would take about 400 hours to complete. 400 hours? Oh my goodness. There are how many hours in a day? Do you know how many hours there are in a day? There's 24 hours in a day. So imagine if you spent 24 hours, 400, and then you made it up to 400 hours and you were still working on that puzzle. I don't think Miss Cassidy's puzzle is going to take 400 hours now, do we? And there we go. I put my puzzle all together. You can actually kind of see it. Maybe I can flip it around. You can kind of see it all put together, just like that. So, that's our popsicle stick puzzle. Ooh, gave myself a little bit of a splinter. That's okay. All right, so with our cereal box puzzle, like I said, I have 2 cereal boxes because I'm going to show you 2 kinds. If you are just desperate for a puzzle and you aren't so excited about drawing or decorating, you just want to put a puzzle together, guess what? You got 2 whole puzzles right here. Just by cutting these 2 sides off, which is what we're going to do right now. So go ahead and grab your scissors or get whatever grown-up or older sibling is helping you out that's going to help with the scissors. And you're just going to cut right along the corners so that we end up with our nice front and back of our cereal box taken off from the rest of it. So I'm going to cut the long way first because that's going to be easier. Cut all the way down to the bottom so that it ends up flipping out like that. And then you're just going to cut along the bottom. As always, friends, make sure that when you are using your scissors, you are being very careful and you are paying attention to what you're doing. You notice that whenever I'm cutting, I look down at what I'm doing. I don't look up at you guys. I look at what I'm doing. Make sure you do the same to be safe, okay? And if you ever need help, go ahead and ask somebody. No stress. It's totally cool to ask for help because we are what? Still learning. That's right. Good morning. Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. So right here, easy as this, we could have a puzzle. So we just cut it out into a bunch of different shapes. And it can start, like I cut out one little square guy, and now I'm going to cut out a shorter rectangle, then maybe a triangle. And same thing here, friends. We want to be careful because we are using scissors. And you can even start by cutting some big pieces together and then cutting little pieces out of that if that's easier. And the harder, the smaller the pieces you make and the more pieces you make, the more challenging your puzzle will be. But maybe you want to make a puzzle for your little brother or sister or somebody else that's a little bit younger than you and maybe isn't ready for a really difficult puzzle. You can cut these up into nice big pieces. It can be fun for everybody, no matter what level of expert puzzle maker they may or may not be at. So that's all that takes, friends. That's the easiest version, is to just cut up a bunch of little pieces and make your own puzzle. The next version, though, I'm going to show you how to design your own puzzle, which is where we will draw that flower and that unicorn we talked about earlier. Hi, Carly and Katie. Hello, friend. Oh, and thank you. Baby boy is cute. He is also a little bit of a monster sometimes. But that's okay. We like people with character. We're not all one thing, right? No. Baby boy's super cute and also a menace sometimes. He is always getting into things. He's always making the other kitties mad at him. But that's okay. He's pretty cute. So I'm going to pause there, and if we have more time, I'll go ahead and I'll cut out the rest of these. But I want to make sure I get to show you how to make your own. So that's a pretty simple thing, and you're smart. So I'm sure you understand that when we cut up all of these Cinnamon Toast Crunch front of our puzzle, easy peasy, you can just put all those pieces together. Like, let's see, I'll do a quick version here. Large size. And you can put together the whole front, easy peasy. So that's one if you're just looking for a bunch of different puzzles and you don't have a lot of time to make it. Now, if you wanted to design your own puzzle, what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of plain paper, take some popsicles, tape, and markers. Oh, good! This is a great vacation activity, especially if you end up on a rainy day. Nothing worse than when you go to the beach and it ends up raining all day and you're like, what do we do? Make some puzzles. That's what you do. All right. Hello, Eason. Hi, friends. So you're going to take your paper and you're going to draw anything you want. So I had a request for a unicorn and a flower. As not good at drawing cats and myself as I am scared about what this unicorn is going to look like, but we will do our best, right? That's all that matters. We will do our best. And hopefully I don't create it's already a little scary, guys. Hopefully I don't create something that is totally horrifying. Horrifying, if you don't know what that word is like the scariest version of scary. Like, ooh, that's scary. That's horrifying. My unicorn might be horrifying, guys. We'll try. We'll try to make it okay, but I don't know. All right, so that's the beginning of the unicorn. Not terrible. Not terrible, I guess. And let's see. I'm going to get pink out and give my unicorn a tail and a mane. All right, it's not going too bad. It's looking a little better now with the mane on. Now, of course, what do we need for a unicorn? The horn, naturally. Just like that. Okay, you know what, guys? I was worried, but this isn't going too bad. I'm going to add some blue into my mane just for fun. Give a little eye and a little smile. All right. Hey. That could have been so much worse. Hello, Riley. Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Oh, I love the way you spell Riley. That's so fun. All right. And then I had a request for a flower. So you know what? Let's go ahead and we're just going to put a great big flower up on this side. And we might draw a few flowers because just like with our popsicle stick, we want to make sure that we are covering as much of this paper as we can. Because if we leave like this whole big white space, that's going to be harder to put together, right? Same thing for up here. To make it easier to put together, you want to cover as much of it as you can with your artwork. So I'm going to put a sun up in this corner. We have a sun in the sky and also a giant flower in the sky. Because, hey, it is our imaginations. And that is whatever we want to do. So there's a sun, and then let's see, I need one more. I got one more little space down here. Anybody got a recommendation for what I should put in this little space? We've got a flower in the sky, we've got a sun in the sky, we've got my unicorn, which I am probably a little too proud of at this point. And we need one more thing to stick down in this bottom corner so that we can have a fully complete puzzle. I'm going to grab my glue, because I just realized I didn't grab my glue. While you give me a suggestion for what we should draw in that little section. Woo! Big boy. There we go. Grass! What a good idea! Grass! What an easy way. I love it. And we can do that all along the bottom. Grass is a great idea. And a tree! Perfect. Let's put a tree in there as well. What good answers, friends. See, look how creative you all are. I bet you're going to make some super cool puzzles. Hi, Dickie. Hello, friends. Thanks for joining us. All right. So there we go, friends. We have got, and let's see, I'm going to add a little bit more here. And you can take as much time as you want. I'm going a little fast because we only have so much time together and I want you to get to see all of it. But you can take as much time as you want designing your puzzle. So you can add trees, flowers, the sun, the unicorns, baby boy. You can add whatever you want. A rabbit, ooh, I like that. Let's see, I'll add one little bunny in there real quick. It's going to be a pink bunny because why not? We already got a unicorn. Who says we can't have a pink bunny? All right, you may only know it's really a bunny because of its ears, but that's okay. All right, so now that we have finished designing this part of our puzzle, we're going to go ahead and cut out the other side of that box. So the same thing, and this will be a little bit easier than the first time. We're going to just cut right down that long line. Make sure you are looking where you are cutting, keeping your fingers out of the way, asking for help if we need it. Ooh, not getting too scared by our cats. Here we go, cutting down the line. And then we just got to cut off this little bottom part. And you could even use these little offcasts, the things from the side. You can make these into bookmarks. You could make smaller puzzles out of it, make it a long, skinny puzzle instead of a great big one. All sorts of creative things. And if you're not going to end up using it for something creative, make sure you throw it in your recycling bin, okay? Want to always make sure that whenever we're crafting, we're still doing our best to take care of the earth and everyone around us. So now that we've cut it out, we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue our picture right on top. My cardboard is a little bit skinnier than my picture, but that's okay. I can trim it a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and now, you know that normally when Miss Cassidy talks about glue, we say what? A dot is a lot. And that is true. But because we need to cover all parts of this, because we're going to cut it in half, we've got to be a little bit more liberal with our gluing here. I would recommend if you have a paintbrush, this is a really great opportunity to go ahead and grab that paintbrush and just help to get a nice even layer all over your paper. If you don't have a paintbrush, what you can do is what I'm doing, where I am squeezing just a little bit. I'm not squeezing very hard at all. And I am just dragging it all along my paper, back and forth and up and down, so that I can cover as much of the space as possible. And I'll show you in a second what I mean, because I'm using a lot more glue than we normally use, but I'm still not layering it on, because if you put too much glue on, that becomes crazy. So there's a nice even light layer of glue, and I'm going to very carefully lay that down on top of my cardboard and smooth it out. Make sure I'm getting all of my edges stuck. And it's nice and smooth and attached to that cardboard. And because, like I said, mine's a little bigger, I had a little overspill. So I'm going to trim off. Oh no, the unicorn's going to lose his tail. That's okay. Trim off the edges a bit. And I would recommend at this point letting it dry just a little bit. And if you have something heavy, you can put on top of it, so that, because if you might be able to already see, because of the wetness of the glue, it wants to bend a little bit. But if you have a way of laying it down flat and putting something with just a little bit of weight on top of it, that's going to help dry nice and straight. Your puzzles of a cat and a dog, that's perfect. You could tell a whole story about that cat and dog. How did they become friends? Are they friends? Are they brother and sister because they live in the same house? Are they, what else? I'm trying to think about how to clean up this glue because I made a mess. But that's okay, right? We always say it's okay to make a little bit of a mess. You just got to make sure you clean it up when you're all done. All right. Once this is all dry, you are going to do the same thing you did when we just did the regular old cereal box top. Cut it into a bunch of little pieces. So mine is not fully dry, but I think it'll be okay. I'm going to go ahead, but if you want to let yours wait a little while longer because yours is going to last longer that way, you go ahead and do that. Being a little patient never hurt anybody. But because I want to show you what we're working towards. Oh, hello, baby boy. Would you like to make a puzzle? Think it'd be awfully hard without thumbs. What do you think? So I'm just cutting my puzzle up the same exact way I did before. And you see how now little bits and pieces of my picture are glued onto my very own cardboard puzzle backing. And you can think about it if you want. You can be like Archimedes, like our mathematician who really thought about how to get all of those different shapes in there and how to make them fit and the math and the science of it all. If that's how your brain works and you love doing that, you go ahead and do that. If you're like me and you're just going to start cutting kind of crazy and doing whatever you want, making whatever shapes, that also works too. So just like that, friends, we created 3 different puzzles. 2 that we drew all on our own, and 1 we made out of upcycling a cereal box, which, as we always talk about, I love finding new uses for anything that I would otherwise throw away. Oh, excuse me, baby boy. Excuse me. What does he think this is? If you made some puzzles along with us today and you want to send me a picture, as always, I love seeing them. Go ahead and tag us at Miss Cassidy Creates or send them to me personally. If you send them to me personally, they will not get shared in the public. That's just to make my own heart happy. Like I said, we've got some great activities going on for the rest of the week. Tomorrow we're going to make our own fruity ice cream at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you're going to join us for that, and remember, you can always join us after the fact. Even if you can't watch live, you can find all of our videos on our page anytime. Make sure you freeze your fruit ahead of time. Whatever fruit you're going to use, just throw it in the freezer overnight. That's going to help out a lot. I'm going to go ahead and post a reminder about that later, along with some more supplies. Thursday, we're going to have a dance class, and I hope you had a good time learning about puzzles and Archimedes and John Silsbury and the Parker brothers. And I hope you have a good time. What are you doing? What are you doing? I hope you have a good time making your own puzzles. So thanks so much for joining me. I'll hopefully see you tomorrow or Thursday. You keep on being yourself. You keep on smiling. I'll see you soon. Bye. Say bye, baby boy. Bye, baby boy.